What is going on, Life Fitness Coaches? Welcome to another episode of the Change Lives, Make Money Online Trainer Podcast. It's your boy, B Mark. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the most important aspect of sales calls, the single most important aspect of sales calls. See, most online fitness coaches get this wrong. I would say most salespeople in general get this wrong. And when we get to the end of the call and the prospect ends up telling us, I need to talk to my wife, I need to think about it, I don't have the money, I need to floss my cat, I need to talk to my dog, or whatever other fucking objection that we get, we end up over focusing on the objection part of the sales process, thinking that we just need to master overcoming objections. When the reality of the situation is there's a lot of other aspects of the sales call that actually make the biggest difference. And so in today's podcast, what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about some of the different aspects of the sales calls. And then at the end, I'm going to reveal the single most important aspect of your sales calls, the one that will make all of the difference when it comes to you closing 30 to 50% of your calls or 10% of your calls. Now, when we think about sales as a whole, we've helped over 347 coaches make $10,000 a month. We've helped 15 coaches make $100,000 a month. So when it comes to learning how to sell, we know what to do. At PT Domination, we are really, really good at selling. And so what I want to do in today's podcast is break down the different aspects and elements of a sales call. And then at the end, I'm going to tell you which one is the most important. So first things first is the pre-frame. When you guys start your sales calls, most of you guys are starting them like you're buddy with your homie. You're having a conversation, ask them about the weather. You spend 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes building rapport. And as a result, when you do that, you end up causing the prospect not to view you as an authority. And so the pre-frame is a really important aspect of the sales call, because if you don't start the call like an authority, then throughout the call, as you start to step into that authority role, your prospect will resist it. Now, pre-frame, what does that mean? Okay, so let's break down that word into two separate meanings. So pre means before, frame means an agreed upon container in which two people exist. So before the call, frame means that set the container for the call. So that's what you're doing with the pre-frame is before the call, you're setting the container for the call. This is what that looks like. Okay, Jack, so what we're going to do in today's call is we're going to talk about your biggest struggle in your fitness journey. We'll talk about your goal for your fitness journey, and then I'll help you come up with a game plan to achieve your goals. At the end of the call, if I feel like you're a good fit for the program, I'll invite you to work with me. If I don't feel like you're not a good fit, I'll just let you know, and then I'll point you in a different direction. Does that sound good? So we always start the call with the pre-frame. Now, the second important aspect of the sales call, it's not the most important, but the second important aspect of a sales call is you need to understand, uncover their core reason for getting on the call. Meaning, what is the struggle that caused them to get on the call with you in the first place? This is the thing, right? I'm not going to go to the store and buy Tylenol unless I have a headache, right? I have a headache, so I go to the store and I buy Tylenol. So your fitness client gets on the phone with you because they have some sort of headache. They have some sort of pain. It's our job as sales professionals to uncover what the actual reason is that they're on the phone with us. And what this means for me is we really need to spend some time with these individuals, and we need to ask questions that get what I call 3 layers deep. And so, Jack, what's your number one fitness goal right now? So losing weight. Okay. And, how much weight would you want to lose? You want to lose 20 pounds. Okay. That's great. Jack, how long have you been struggling to lose that 20 pounds? 2 years? All right. Fair enough. And I got to ask, man, you showed up to this call today, and obviously I can tell you care about your goals. Why is it super important to you that we lose this 20 pounds? Why is losing weight important to you? Get 3 layers deep, figure out the surface level answer, then figure out how long they've been struggling with it, then figure out why it's important to them. And that's how you want to get with your actual pain point. Unless you have that, they're not going to feel a big enough pull to want to take action to solve their problem. So the second most important aspect of a sales call is the pain point. The third most important aspect of a sales call is the goals, because we can't just make people feel like shit on calls and then expect them to buy, right? We can't just be like, oh, you suck and you're the worst. And oh, it sucks that you're 20 pounds overweight. Woe is you, sucks to be you. We need to help them create a vision for where they want their life to be. Now, here's the thing with fitness clients, right? And I want you guys to remember this. This is really important. If somebody's been struggling with weight loss their entire life, it's going to be really hard for them to imagine what their life looks like with the weight loss. Does that make sense? Somebody's been struggling their whole life with losing that 20 pounds. They've never seen themselves in the best shape of their life. And so for them to imagine what it's going to be like to be in the best shape of their life is going to be really difficult for them. So it's your job as a sales professional to help them uncover that vision. One of my favorite questions to do this is, so Jack, I got to ask, let's just turn things around. Let's pretend we turn things around starting today. We look 6 months into the future. You look at yourself in the mirror and you're in the best shape of your life. You've got a six pack, you're lean, you're toned, your shoulders have grown. You've got the body that you've always wanted. How would that make you feel? Just thinking about like having the body that you want, like how would that make you feel? Like how would your life change if you were in the best shape of your life? What would you do to celebrate? Right. So I want to get them really in this state of like your problem is completely removed and your problem is solved. How does that feel? Because that leads us to the fourth point, which is very fucking important, is once you have their pain point and once you have their goal, that creates a distance. It creates a gap. So the fourth thing is you need to create a gap. Now, my definition of a gap is the distance between where they are right now and where they want to be. That's a gap. And we need to create that on the sales call. And if you don't get super clear on the pain point and you don't get super clear on the goals, there's no gap. There's no reason to take action. So this is why a lot of sales professionals struggle, is because they're just rolling through the sales script, asking fucking questions, not understanding the actual reason that we're on the call. We need to uncover their pain points. We need to uncover the goals. We need to create a gap, which leads us to number 5. And then we need to pitch our program to be the solution to get them from where they are now to where they want to be. Now, here's what most people do when they pitch their program. They pitch their program telling the prospect the program logistics. So they're like, yeah, you get a meal plan every week. You get a training plan every week, and I'm going to do check-ins with you. And it's going to be, $9.99 for 16 weeks. This is the biggest mistake you can make in sales. Or you could use all their goals and you could explain how your program is going to benefit them to their goals specifically. Here's what that would look like. Okay, so, Jack, your main goal is to lose 20 pounds. So what we're going to do with your meal plan is I'm going to design you a new meal plan every single week. And the whole plan is designed for fat loss. And so every single week, you're either going to lose body fat or we're going to make changes to your meal plan so that you do. Does that make sense? Perfect. So your workout program, again, with the 20-pound weight loss goal in mind, I want you to be toned by the end of this program. And so I'm going to make sure that I'm designing your program to help you burn fat, build muscle, and like fill out your t-shirts like you've always wanted. Make sense? Perfect. And now the accountability. When it comes to losing weight, most people struggle because they fall off track and they get demotivated. I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen as we're losing weight on a week-to-week basis. And so at the end of the 16 weeks, by the time I'm done checking in with you every single week, you're going to be down 20 pounds and in the best shape of your life. How does that sound? Right? So I take all the pains that they told me, all the goals that they told me, and then I pitched my program to be the solution from where they are now to where they want to be. And then we overcome objections, because obviously you're going to drop the price. You're going to say it's $1,000 for 16 weeks, and they're going to tell you they got to talk to their cat. And then you got to work through that objection. And then you got to, secure a commitment and get them like realizing that this program is actually what they need. They're a little bit scared, get them to commit on the call to something. So we've got the pre-frame, we've got the pain, we got the goals, we got the gap, we got the pitch, we got the objections. Here's a trick question. Which one is the most important? Which one of these aspects of sales is the most important? Here's the trick question. Which one of these aspect of sales is the most important out of curiosity? Is it the pre-frame? Is it the pain? Is it the goals? Is it the gap? Is it the pitch? Is it the objection? Which one's the most important? It's a trick question. I didn't tell you the most important. The most important aspect of sales calls is state control. State control. State control is the number one aspect of sales calls. It's state control. And my definition of state control is when you come into that call, do you come in excited, motivated, ready to talk to your prospect? Can you lower your tonality when you're talking about their pain points and get super curious? Can you get convicted when you're pitching the program and let them know that this is going to be the program that absolutely changes your life forever? Can you slow down when you're overcoming objections and maybe be a little bit curious instead of being, attacking them? Can you step into the authority frame when you need to tell them, Jack, can I be direct with you, bro? You tell me you're having a hard time losing weight, but you're stopping at McDonald's every single day. Of course you can't lose weight. I wouldn't be able to lose weight either if I stopped at McDonald's every single day. So we got to cut out the fast food and we got to start investing in your health and fitness goals. Are we on the same page here? Perfect. Okay, cool. So then can you come back to the curious tone? Okay, so like how long has this been an issue for you? The most important aspect of your sales calls is state control. And my definition of state control is number one, coming into your calls fucking ready to go. And so some of the things that I used to do, like now I can just turn it the fuck on because I've probably done over 5,000 sales calls at this point. And that's not an exaggeration. With my fitness coaching business, And PT Domination, I've probably done over 5,000 sales calls. When I first got started though, I wasn't good. And so the way that I got good at managing my state is before my calls, I'd be blasting music. I would be blasting music. I'd be getting myself in the zone. I'd be like jumping around. I also used to go into my fucking car and scream affirmations. This is the best day of my life. I would do whatever it took to get myself into an elevated state so that when I came on that call, the prospect could feel me. Do you guys get this? Does this make sense? So many people overestimate or basically overlook this part of sales calls, but I'm telling you guys, the single most important aspect of your sales calls is state control. If you can come into that sales call excited, motivated, ready to serve your client, if you can slow down and get a little bit curious when they're talking about their pains and be a little bit more empathetic, if you can become the authority when you need to deliver a message to the prospect and have it get through, and then if you can slow down a little bit when you're talking to the prospect about like, I totally get it. You need to talk to your wife. That makes sense. And just out of curiosity, does your wife know that we're speaking today? Can you slow down in the objections part? And then can you speed back up when you need to close? Right? That's the most important aspect of sales calls, you guys. You've got to get a feel for it. And like, how do you get a feel for this? Like, how do you get a feel for your state? How do you get used to the tonality, right? The tonality in your calls is you just got to put in the fucking reps, man. Like there's no shortcut around this. Like obviously you can follow a proven sales process and the PT Dom process is pretty fucking good. Like obviously you can follow a proven process and you can, use the script, but at the end of the day, the only thing that's going to get you really fucking good is repetition, 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 repetition. Now to end this podcast off, I want to talk about a video that I dropped on my YouTube yesterday, and it was called Prank Calling My Clients to Test Their Sales Skills. So what I did is I literally got my videographer to pretend to be a prospect, go to one of my clients' profiles, send them a DM and say like, hey, I want to book in a sales call. Like I want to work with you. And my intention was to basically test my clients and see how good their sales skills were. And so I booked a call with one of my clients, D, who's in my 10K mastermind. And the call was fucking phenomenal. It was probably like it was one of the best calls I've ever heard, honestly. And at the end, when I revealed it was me, he's like, holy shit, like what the fuck? But I was like, D, like that call was like one of the best calls I've ever heard, ever. If you guys want to watch it, go to my YouTube, Brian Mark, and search and like look at the video that's called Prank Calling My Client to Test Her Sales Skills. Best call I've ever heard for fitness. If you guys want to learn state control and tonality, you guys got to listen to this video. And I asked him, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, how did you get that good? This is his reply. He said, B, every day, 5 days a week for the last 2 years, I have not missed on a role play. So me and Adam role play every day. We DM role play and we sales call role play every day. And I was like, bro, it fucking shows. It shows. And like, I really don't think that you have the reverence that you need to have for every sales opportunity that you get. Because obviously it's good making money. And every single person that books a sales calls with you is a potential new customer, but it's also an opportunity to completely change somebody's life. And you don't have the reverence for it, like the appreciation for the art, right? And if you as a person don't do your very best to be the very best that you can be for your sales calls, you're letting your prospects down, you're letting yourself down, you're letting the future version of you down because you're just missing opportunities. Like if you get a call in your calendar with a person that wants to buy your stuff, that's fucking cool. And so you need to do everything in your power to make sure that you're the best that you can possibly be for that specific call, for that specific opportunity. Does that make sense? So hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully it was valuable. If it was, make sure you subscribe to the podcast, leave me a rating, leave me a written review. I hope you all have the best day of your entire life, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Peace. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Hopefully you got some value. If you did, and you want to learn more about how me and my team can help you scale your online fitness business to $10,000 a month, DM me 10K on Instagram at TheRealBrianMark for more information, and I'll reach out to you to see if I can help you grow an online coaching business.